Hello, welcome back. My name is Ram LaGru. I'm the founder and managing director of LaGru Partners. And this particular video is dedicated to what I call the 8 habits of eternity. If you're really looking for ways to become more successful faster, well then this video is for you. So let's have a quick look at it. In the now more than 12 years of personal development and professional development programs that I have personally been involved in, and all the research that I have done in a multitude of countries and even in different languages that I studied. Time and time again, I've seen that certain things work better than other things. And obviously they don't work all the time for everyone, but I'd like you to consider the following, the 8 habits that really turned around my life personally in a big way. Number 1, get clear about what it is that you're here for. What is your major purpose? I think we sometimes start taking on a job or start even studying because we are supposed to do so and because our father or mother wanted us to. I know plenty of friends of mine that studied, graduated with a certain degree and they never really cared about it. So then they started working and then they rolled into certain job roles that they really dislike doing. And so the morale of this little quick story is that unless you are clear about what it is that you're here for, unless you're clear about what you really are passionate about, it's very hard for you to make the decisions that allow you to solicit the most of you, to really bring out the very best of you, and to take your life constantly to the next level. So, what is your major purpose? I've become clear of it after a particular coach asked me about 6 or 7 times, because I tend to be quite, sometimes stubborn, as we sometimes all do. He had to ask me 6 or 7 times, Bram, what are you really here for? And I obviously had my little spiel ready, my elevator pitch. Well, I'm here because I am very passionate about doing blah, 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 blah. And so he said, no, I get that, but what are you really here for? And I pretty much caught myself saying the same thing in different words, and obviously he picked up on it. And so this went on and on and on and on. But then suddenly the lightning struck. The light bulb went on. And I suddenly somehow saw so clearly the picture in terms of what really drives me, what gets me out of bed, what I enjoy doing, and obviously what I'm doing here is part of it, which means is creating a difference in people's life is definitely part of my journey. And so, what is your major purpose? Have you ever taken the time to walk through it all and to write it down on paper and make sure that it's almost like a vision statement and a mission statement that companies have, but one for your own life? Because unless you do it, I can guarantee you your motivation, your energy levels will probably not be as high as they could. The second thing also is that you may have made decisions around the type of job you'd have, possibly even the area you live in, the types of activities you engage in post-work that not necessarily are feeding you. They are not necessarily adding more value to you. Until the time when you step outside, let's say, the comfort zone, and allow yourself to embrace what truly is there for you. Your major purpose. I can only say once you find it, light bulb goes on, your energy goes up. You have suddenly so much more motivation to do the things you really do, and you start spending more time on the things that truly matter to you, and not to anybody else, to you. Clarify your values. I am sometimes completely gobsmacked in a way when I notice that people are not necessarily living in line with their values. So for example, when I would ask you, what are your top 10 values? A lot of people would say, family is really important to me. And then I ask him well, how much time do you spend with him on a daily basis? That many hours, that many minutes, whatever it is. And then I say, well, what the rest of the time, what do you do if you disregard the amount of time that you sleep? And then you'll start seeing that a lot of people are really workaholics. They spend a lot of time at work. But then they come back then and say, well, you know what? I really care enough about my family, so I want to provide for them. So I put in the extra work so that I can provide with them back home. Well, then you start seeing already here from the example that I'm giving how there's a bit of a disconnect between thinking that family is really important to you and spending minimum time with them and maximum time at work. That's really where you start seeing that how you live your life and the choices you make around how to invest time may not necessarily be in line with what you think your values are like. And so the reason why I'm bringing up this idea is for you to really align your life, your career, and personal activities completely in line with your values. Unless you do so, you will again somehow diminish your level of effectiveness as a communicator and your levels of success in life overall. So once you do, everything really starts to happen for you. Number 3, this is going to be let's say the topic of a separate video after this one, so stay tuned. But in essence, what it means is that every day, rather than to have a to-do list, have what I call a personal productivity sheet. And a personal productivity sheet is one where you do 3 things. It's a 3-step formula that you effectively do in this very order every single day in order to get the most out of you, in order to manage your time well, and most so, lead your time, lead yourself. Step 1 is you first start with your longer term vision in terms of what type of goals you are aspiring to achieve in the future. So this is the longer term type of vision you have for you where you need to be in the future. Now those goals could touch on a variety of things. They could be spiritual, they could be career-wise, they could be financial, they could be health, they could be personal, they could be family, all sorts of areas of life that are important to you. You could select 10 of them, but the fact that you write them down daily, your 10 major goals in different areas of life, that in itself gives you so much clarity of guideline and direction that then for step 2, when you start identifying what your ideal outcomes are for either the day or the week, you bring things back closer to your bed, bring it back to bite-sized chunks. So you write down your ideal outcomes for the day or the week as if you already achieved them. So this is then pretty much the second part. Then the third part is where you say, my ideal priorities based on step 1 and 2 are, and then you start clarifying the activities that will be required of you, high value activities, in order to get your ideal outcomes in step 2 that allow you to achieve your long-term goals down the track of step 1. See how this 3-step formula nicely aligns and gives you enough strategy and purpose and clarity through step 1 and 2 so that you make smarter decisions in step 3. Notice once again, if you were to go with a to-do list, as many people do, that you almost instantly start almost in a step 4, where you instantly launch yourself into action which is undirected, which is not guided. And so there's no strategy behind it. So you will just somehow haphazardly choose certain activities to do, not knowing really which one is the best priority to engage in, what's a high value and what's a low value task, because you can't tell the difference without the structure of the clarity around step 1 and 2. Successful people, they find ways to like themselves more. They will use positive affirmations to build their self-esteem, to build their self-concept, to build themselves in ways that whatever they thought initially that wasn't possible, they find ways to just talk to themselves in such a way to talk themselves into becoming more successful in those very areas. So even though at some stage you are not good at all at doing whatever activity that it is, you talk yourself into becoming really good at it because you think that that skill set, that capability is important enough to develop over time and to get great at it. So you talk yourself into liking yourself more. For example, one of the great things that I really like saying is, I like myself. I like myself. I like myself. I am a great speaker. or I'm a great communicator, or I'm a great leader. These are all types of affirmations that, yes, are part of your aspirations, but before you can first visualize it for yourself and start embracing it in your thoughts, in your language, and then also in your behaviors, it won't happen for you. So it really needs to start with you making a conscious effort and a decision to invest in yourself by liking yourself more. Find ways to free yourself from negative emotions of all kinds. What I find is that people sometimes get in themselves in their own way. Their own way gets in the way. Sometimes when we allow ourselves to hold on too long to negative sentiment, to hold grudges of any kind, to linger too much on fear and allow fear to get in the way, or the fear of the phone call, the fear of having a performance management conversation, the fear of just trying out something new. All of this fear, anger, jealousy, resentment, frustration, having all this stuff around, guess what? This brain over here has got quite a capability to perform, but the more of that brain is occupied by negative sentiment, by negative thoughts and negative feelings, the more of that space is occupied, the less of that space the less of that real estate is available for the very things that allow you to become more successful. Very successful people, I have noticed time and time again that they are becoming hyper alert, that they are becoming hyper aware of themselves. They catch themselves on doing certain things that are not helping them to get ahead, and so they instantly override it by giving their own brain new commands and talk to themselves, having self-talk, being more constructively construed so that they effectively can eliminate the negative so that they have more positives instead. So, to use once again an analogy, what do you do with your, with your waste? What do you do with all sorts of stuff that you don't want to hold on to? Well, chances are that you put it in a bin, and once the bin is full, that you take it outside so that the waste management company can take it away for you. Isn't that true? Right? Well, unless you are a hoarder and likes to have everything messy around you and really have, the smells build up in the room, unless you're that, you will obviously look after your household and clean it and make it nice and clean and tidy. Well, how well are you looking after your internal household? How well are you get rid of the negative baggage and the waste that you don't need to hold on to? If you are that type of person that easily gets frustrated and angry, upset, feeling aggravated about anything, caught up, feeling, defensive, feeling attacked, that sort of stuff, my invitation to you is find ways to get rid of it. Do the courses, do the personal development, have a coach, go and see a therapist, whatever you need in order to free yourself up from it, because it's so important that you got this device over here working for you. The more real estate up here is available to extract the very best of you, the more easily you will become an excellent communicator, because you got all your mental capacity readily available for it. Find ways to like more people. I've noticed as a communicator myself and as a business person, an entrepreneur and the likes, I've noticed time and time again that people like to do business with people they like, and they will only like you to the extent that you started the process first. So, if you catch yourself on, judging someone, find ways to find something in that person that you can appreciate, respect, and like. When you do, you almost fast-tracked the rapport building between the two of you. When you first give by recognizing something good in them, your entire demeanor will be more positively experienced and received on their end. Which means as you emit positive vibration almost, they will reciprocate the same back to you. And so as you put it, whatever you put in is also what you get out. If you put in negatives, negatives will come back to you. Have you noticed, for example, that whenever you get really angry, that it's very easy to have somebody else respond in an angry way back to you? Well, the same way as you are emitting the positives, you may notice that also people will respond more positively back to you. And so this is really the law of attraction working in your favor. You are a magnet. So whatever you are emitting is also what you attract back. As soon as I started understanding that there is a dynamic between judging people and then not really getting ahead with them, as opposed to liking people and more easily getting along, well, that duality is a choice that you and I have in every single encounter with another individual. You can either almost have an instant splashback or almost an instant rapport building just by starting to like more people. For all the time that we're investing, the energy that we bring to the table is one that we really build within ourselves. So unless we find ways to stay inspired, by listening to audio programs, by watching educational videos, by reading blogs and articles and magazines and books that really add a lot of value to you, by engaging in conversations with people that can help you think differently, that help you to, see more clearly, by lifting your own game in these type of engaging conversations. Well, the more we do so, the more we bring out the very best and the more successful we become. And I'm sure that you've already noticed that. So personal development is important. Do the things required on a regular basis, because the last thing you want to do is, leave it to one book a year, or one seminar a year, or one audio program a year, or do none of that at all. You want to make sure that you stay inspired. It's not the job of your manager, your boss, your spouse, or anyone else to look after your inspiration. Your inspiration is your daily duty. This is where I would also like to bring it back to somebody that I've personally have gotten to learn a whole lot from, which is Dr. John Demartini. He has a book called The Gratitude Effect. And I highly recommend you to express your gratitude daily. Which means is, for example, as I do, every time before you go to bed, start listing, either in your mind or on paper, the very things that you are grateful for the day. So you reflect back on the day and you say, looking at all of these things here, I'm happy for that. I'm very grateful for that. I feel blessed. It's something that really works well. You could also, for example, do it early in the morning. When I do my runs, for example, my jogging, my running, I would very often, first make sure that I'm present and take up the beautiful nature that I'm surrounded with, but then also start listing the very things that I'm very grateful for. And the fact that you would either do that in the evening before going to bed, or you do that early in the day before you go to work, either one of them or both, they actually help your mind to stay in a positive frame of mind, which means the more positive you think, the more positive you attract, and therefore success is yours. These are my 8 habits, which I call the 8 habits of eternity. I hope you like them, so feel free to add your comments below. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ram. Look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.